Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for your proper match reaction here from the Carabao Cup Final. Chelsea 0, Liverpool 1, extra time. Virgil Van Dijk scoring at the very end of extra time, right at the death. Chelsea, we screwed this one up big time. This would traditionally be the 6 things we learned video, but I'd rather consolidate this into the one major thing that we learned here, and I'm going to give it to you top line right out of the gate here before I explain myself. The mentality of Chelsea Football Club we have learned as a result of watching this final from the very top, from the owners all the way through to the manager, the rest of the staff, and as a result of the manager's influence on the players, the mentality at Chelsea absolutely sucks. There is no longer a winning mentality present at our football club, and the result that we saw against a very depleted Liverpool side is, to be quite honest, everything we could have expected based on what we have seen from Chelsea this season as a whole and throughout the entirety of this game. The way that we micromanaged individual moments, the way that we tried to choreograph our own narrative here for this final as the game was being played was decision after decision after decision to put the game straight into Liverpool's hands. When it came to the quality of some of the finishing, Gallagher missing big chances, Enzo missing a huge chance in the first half, Chelsea's finishing all season long has been scrutinised for good reason. We have created so many big chances this season and missed so many of them. And you get to a cup final, and obviously, when the players are so young, it's obviously a very high-pressure game. Some of them are going to crumble under that pressure. Look at the Liverpool team that finishes that game. We're talking about young players dealing with high-pressure situations, yet still, they deliver. And the reason that they deliver is because Chelsea just gifted it to them. And that is on the manager's head, because what he says, Mauricio Pochettino, in his post-match press conference, to me, is a criminal offence that should see him in flipping football jail. Who in their right mind, against that Liverpool team that was obliterated by injuries, granted, a lot of the key players in the build-up to the game, Szoboszlai, Trent, Salah, Nunez, players that apparently were like 50-50. We thought it was mind games from Klopp. It wasn't. They were all out injured. The Liverpool side that we saw, it wasn't an awful starting 11, but even halfway through the first half, it's getting depleted by more injuries. So the game is there for Chelsea to take. But no, as the game goes on, we start to play for a penalty shootout, despite, this is nuts, Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea substitutions saw Mudryk come on, Noni Madueke come on, Chalobah, defender, and Christopher Nkunku. Nkunku, Mudryk, Madueke. 3 attacking players, and he sets us up to defend. It's absolutely insane how Mauricio Pochettino has done this. And unfortunately, I don't even blame Mauricio Pochettino for this because, quite frankly, I feel as though none of that is a surprise. Mauricio Pochettino is not a natural-born winner. He's a former Spurs manager who's had some big jobs, had an obvious job at Paris Saint-Germain and still didn't even do that well there. And he's come to Chelsea, and we should have expected this, really. We should have expected this, and it all makes sense to me because it's the owners that have made all of these decisions, spending all of this money, hiring Graham Potter, bringing Lampard back, hiring Pochettino. All of these decisions that this new ownership have made, they're not exactly winning mentality decisions. This isn't exactly trying to keep hold of this Chelsea DNA that has become so rooted in lifting trophies and winning things. The club has been struggling now for quite some time, and it's all because we've lost the spine of a team. It's as simple as that. As much as we can say, yes, things have got so much worse since the new ownership, even towards the end of the Roman Abramovich era, because we lost Cech, Terry, Lampard, Drogba, Ashley Cole, all of these like humongous players in so many different ways, we started to lose finals back then as well. So the mentality at the club has been deteriorating when it comes to that winning mentality because of the quality that we lost. But then as a result of that, you've got to identify that. And instead of spending billions on young players who don't even have mentality yet, or a winning mentality specifically, when you put all of these things together and you're trying to create this fusion dish, and then you've got a manager who's supposed to be like the salt and pepper to make everything in the dish taste better. Pochettino, It's about as bland as you can get, mate. It's an empty salt pot. It's an empty pepper pot. Mauricio Pochettino sprinkles nothing but negativity onto this Chelsea team. When you bring on 3 attackers that cost over 100 million quid in total, in Nkunku, Mudryk, Madueke, and then you tell them to sit back and defend when it is a Liverpool team full of reserves who are teenagers, it's absolutely mind-blowing. And it isn't a surprise to me whatsoever that is the way that Chelsea went out and played. I was sat there watching the game. If you haven't seen the match vlog, the link is in the description. And as the game's going on, I'm like, right, we've missed all of these chances. You've got an offside goal for Sterling that should be a goal. There's an offside goal also for Van Dijk that I believe should be a goal. So based on excuses, we can't even weigh it up and say, well, all the decisions went against us. They went against Liverpool as well. So I would go as far as to say here, the game was so there for the taking for Chelsea. But it's a bit like, well, okay, Gary Neville comes out and calls us billion-pound bottle jobs. And a lot of the things that Gary Neville says sometimes could be a bit reactionary. But to be quite honest, I completely and utterly agree with every single word of that phrase in there from Gary Neville. We are blue billion-pound bottle jobs. And it isn't just those players out there, because I think you got to give some credit to some of them. I think Gusto played well. I think Moises Caicedo also had a relatively good game. But overall, it's such a negative Chelsea performance. And at this rate, you've got to understand, okay, we can blame Pochettino. We can blame some of the players, but it's the owners that keep making all of these decisions over and over again. And I don't feel as though they are employing the right people to ensure that when we make big decisions again in the future, we get it right. I'm not seeing anywhere near enough work being done behind the scenes at Chelsea to make sure that structurally at the club we're in a position where we can actually make better advised and better decisions for the team and for the future and for the project. I'm not seeing that structural stuff happening anywhere near quick enough and with the right personnel to take the club forward. Chelsea are in serious trouble here. And yes, we didn't get battered the way that we did at Anfield, but Liverpool have got half a flipping team. This is a cup final. These players need to be nurtured into a game like this. And when they're so young, just let the shackles off a little bit. Let them go out there and express themselves. And instead of doing that, Pochettino inhibits us. Pochettino stops us from playing proper football to try and win the football match. And he is relying on a 50-50 lottery in a penalty shootout because Petrovic is good in goal at penalties. It's absolutely insane. And for me, the way forward from this, if we lose to Leeds, Pochettino's got to be gone by the Brentford game. If we lose to Leeds in the FA Cup because there isn't strong enough mentality at the club for the youngsters to bounce back after that final defeat, that's the way we're going to lose to Leeds. And Leeds will be up for this at Stamford Bridge. They'll smell blood. Lose that, Pochettino is gone before that game against Brentford. But realistically, I'm at a point where I'm not even gonna... I blame Pochettino, actually. Yes, I do. I can't not blame Pochettino for why we didn't go out there and try, at least, and win that in extra time. I fully blame Pochettino for that. But overall, it's not surprising. All of these mentality conversations, that performance, and the way that we just petered out in extra time is a culmination of all of the wrong decision-making that has been done above Pochettino throughout the whole of the last 2 years that these new owners have been at Chelsea Football Club. So let's say we beat Leeds. We're in a FA Cup quarter-final. I just don't know how a loser as a manager is going to make a bunch of youngsters who are still finding their feet in the game winners. I just don't see how that's going to work. I really don't. For me, it was over. Yes, I was getting a bit more positive in the build-up to this cup final with the 2-3-1 wins and the draw away at Manchester City. But realistically, it's on Poch. It's absolutely on Poch, but then it's also on those above as to why we've not won the game. It was there for the flipping taking. That is 3 times in a row that we have lost to Liverpool at Wembley. 6 finals at Wembley that Chelsea have lost in a row. And the priority right now for the club has got to be to employ the right people, to employ the winning mentality, which is deeply rooted in a losing mentality right now at Chelsea. 2 years where we've been going through an overhaul. We've been going through a process. We've started a process for a new project. Rinse all of it. Open the flipping floodgates. It's not worked. Chelsea lost this final because of so many poor decisions that weren't even to do with everything that happened on the pitch. Everything that happened on the pitch is a product of all of the off-the-pitch stuff that's just been wrong. Simple as that. Congratulations, though, to Liverpool. Young team, did very well. Klopp gets himself another trophy. They played well, but we should have won. Anyway, thoughts in the comments down below. I'm gutted. I'm still absolutely gutted. Come on, you Blues.